A beef between two titans of the New York music scene hits the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Why 50 Cent was brought up this week during emotional witness testimony. Combs and 50, they've been at odds for a long time. And now, one of them's facing the possibility of spending the rest of their life in federal prison, and the other is not holding back or hiding the apparent joy they find in that possibility happening with a guilty verdict.
The silence is deafening. The empire is crumbling. And the man who stands triumphant, the man who has spent a decade warning the world, is 50 Cent. Diddy, the ultimate showman, the mogul who lived and breathed public adoration.
Sean Diddy Combs and 50 Cent. These two go back a long time. They have been rivals for a long time. And this week we learned that, at least from Diddy's side of things, this feud apparently went far beyond words. 50 Cent's name came up during the testimony this week of Capricorn Clark. She is a former assistant of Sean Combs who went on to become the head of marketing for his Sean John clothing brand. Clark rose successfully and professionally through the ranks of Diddy's world during her time working for him, which stretched between 2004 to 2018, so she saw a lot. Clark claimed that Diddy would threaten her, and she says he even kidnapped her in 2011. All of this matters as we build up to how 50 Cent kind of factors into what she said on the stand. Now, Capricorn Clark started working for Bad Boy after she worked for Death Row Records. Now, that's surprising, since Death Row was ran by perhaps Diddy's most hated enemy, Suge Knight. Clark said that one of her good friends had a baby with Suge Knight, and that's how she knew him. And in perhaps the most shocking story from her testimony, Clark claimed that shortly after she started working for Diddy, Diddy and his security guards took her to Central Park after dark, and Diddy said, quote, "He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me." It is an allegation that paints Combs as someone who is ready to take a life. But as Capricorn Clark's testimony continued, she brought up another rival of Sean Diddy Combs and another allegation that he made an ominous threat of violence. Clark testified, when working for Diddy, they went to a press event at MTV and 50 Cent was there. And just wait until you hear what she says Diddy told 50's manager. 50 Cent's real name is Curtis Jackson. He rose to fame in the early 2000s. You might remember songs like In the Club. You might remember that he was the leader of the rap group G-Unit. Now, 50 grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Diddy, also a New York native. He was born in Harlem, grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, just about 20 miles away. And even though they both had success in music, they both rose to fame representing the city of New York and the rap scene there, they have been longtime rivals. In 2006, 50 Cent released a diss track about Diddy. So almost 20 years ago, this goes back a long way. And in that diss track, he says, quote, "Who shot Biggie Smalls? We don't get 'em. They gon' kill us all. Man, Puffy know who hit that expletive. Man, that expletive soft." Now, 50 is accusing Combs there of knowing who killed his friend, the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Wallace and Puffy were incredibly close, but Wallace was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles in 1997, and no one has ever been charged for pulling the trigger. This all happened during really the height of the East Coast-West Coast rap rivalry of the 90s, which involved Suge Knight, who we mentioned earlier. 50 Cent has also accused Diddy of orchestrating the murder of death row rapper Tupac Shakur, who died in 1996 in a Las Vegas drive-by shooting. This is Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. He was arrested in September 2023, and he is the only person facing charges related to Tupac's murder. But 50 Cent has continued to push the allegation that Sean Combs either knows something or did something for Tupac to end up dead, though Diddy has denied that. But in a 2023 Instagram post, 50 wrote, "Damn, so Pac got lined by brother love, LOL, time to lawyer up, expletive might get sticky," with a pic of Suge Knight in a car with Tupac. Diddy, who has a lot of names, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, and brother love is one of those other names. Now, from Diddy's side of things, again, he's denied having anything to do with Tupac's murder, and he's also denied having anything to do with Christopher Wallace's death, and he's denied publicly having issues with 50 Cent. Here's what Combs said when
is now a ghost. The only thing louder than his absence is the mocking laughter and relentless surgical exposure coming from his longtime rival. We are witnessing the public psychological destruction of one of music's biggest icons. And it's all thanks to a man who saw the rot years before the federal government did. When we talk about Diddy's dark past, we're not talking about a couple of bad business deals. We're talking about the systematic, alleged use of his celebrity machine to facilitate a criminal enterprise of sex trafficking and forced labor. The secrets coming to light are grotesque, and 50 Cent isn't just reporting them, he's weaponizing the most disturbing evidence to ensure Diddy's humiliation is complete and eternal. Diddy is breaking down, not in a dramatic on-camera cry, but through his actions. The frantic deletion of his social media presence, the weak, corporate-mandated public statements, the desperate attempts by his legal team to control the narrative. This is the true breakdown. It's the loss of control for a man whose entire life was built on absolute control. And who is the chief architect?
When he was asked about a beef with 50 in a 2018 interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, Power 105.1 FM.
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with I
don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all really
can't
have
see
a
it?
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all
it,
can't
man.
see that he loves me?
But see,
you really think that's hate?
If you look at 50's social media, you can see he has a lot of posts about Diddy. And this is what he posted the day that federal agents in Miami raided Combs' mansion ahead of his arrest on the charges that he's now on trial for. 50 Cent posted on X, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." 50 Cent also included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand in that post. While Diddy in the Breakfast Club clip said that 50 Cent actually loves him and there was never a beef, on the stand this week, Capricorn Clark said otherwise. Clark said that she was at this press event at MTV with Diddy and 50 Cent was also there, all of this happening in New York. Clark said, quote, "After the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got in the elevator." Clark said that Lighty was an entertainment manager who, on paper, was managing Diddy at the time, but was also 50 Cent's manager at the time. Prosecutors asked Clark what happened in the elevator, and she said, quote, "Puff told Chris, because they were having some sort of issue, like, I really don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns." The prosecutor then asked, "What's the issue with an individual?" And Clark responded, he had an issue with 50 Cent. She said Combs was very serious when he said that. In this case, it has become common to hear testimony from witnesses about alleged threats by Diddy. In fact, several witnesses have said that Diddy regularly threatened to fire people, to beat people, like his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and in this case, making a threat involving firearms to settle a dispute per the testimony of someone who was one of his closest associates for more than a decade. Invoking gun violence and some sort of veiled threat, that could be scary for some, but apparently not 50 Cent. On Instagram, 50 posted right after his name came up in the courtroom, quote, cut, wait a minute. Puffy's got a gun? I can't believe this. I don't feel safe," with a picture that looked like an AI image of 50 Cent on a movie set looking serious. And he wasn't done. Shortly after that, he posted another AI image on Instagram of him in a Yankees hat with a very scared look on his face with the caption, "Oh my goodness, itty bitty Diddy wants me dead. I have to lay low." Sad face emoji. "I think I'm gonna hide out at the playoff game tonight, LOL. Then the next day he posted what he did that night. He went to the NBA playoff game between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. And you can see him here in a picture on the floor in a shirt that reads, quote, "Free Diddy," playing into the trolling that 50 Cent has done to Sean Combs over the years, even before Combs was ever accused of what he is on trial for. Now, Combs' trial is expected to last another month at least. He's charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty. Join us now to talk more about the trial of Sean Diddy Combs and everything that's
of that loss. 50 Cent. The most disturbing things 50 Cent has revealed and amplified revolve around the concept of the freak-off parties. Diddy may have thought he bought the silence and loyalty of his victims, but 50 Cent, through his forthcoming Netflix docuseries, Did He Do It?, is giving the silenced a megaphone. The revelation is not just the alleged acts themselves, which are shocking enough, but the sheer, organized nature of the alleged abuse. 50 Cent takes the police discovery of over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants during the raids and turns it into inescapable, global ridicule. He creates AI images of Diddy at an absurd baby oil fashion show. It's a relentless, psychological attack that takes the legal evidence and turns it into a cultural signifier of depravity. Diddy can deny the charges, but he can't deny the punchline. He can't erase the public image of the baby oil freak-off king. That is the kind of trolling that ends a career. 50 Cent is also exposing Diddy's past attempts to co-opt his rivals. He's been open for years about feeling
What's going on inside the courtroom is Afi Patterson, civil and criminal defense attorney. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. We're focusing on what was a minor moment in the grand scheme of everything we heard in the trial this week, but there's this anecdote that Capricorn Clark told about what related to 50 Cent, but what Diddy allegedly told 50 Cent's manager at MTV during her time of working for Diddy. What did you make of that? Sean Combs saying, I don't like the back and forth, but I like guns.
I think it goes to the overall case. They've been saying that Diddy was a dangerous guy. If he made a threat, he could back it up. And I do recall reading that she said that his demeanor was very, very serious. And knowing his history, his violent history, knowing about the beef between Biggie and Tupac, I think that it probably frightened her. And I think that just again, her knowing about his violence, his propensity for violence, his behavior with her, his behavior with Cassie, his behavior with other employees, he's just continually in reinforcing that violence. So I think it was a really good moment for the government.
Yeah, it's just, and it seems like there are these little moments along the way where there are some celebrity names that pop up. This case, it was 50
Mhm.
Cent. We heard earlier in the trial, Usher and Neo were at a dinner where Cassie was allegedly assaulted. It was unclear whether they saw that, but it
Mhm.
was said that they were there. As far as the history of 50 Cent and Diddy, do we know how it started? I know that 50 Cent had a diss track, I think around 2006, claiming that
Mhm.
Sean Combs knew who killed Biggie Smalls. But is there a particular incident that happened that made 50 Cent just seem to really start to come at Sean Combs?
I don't know what's ground zero for them. I've seen, interviews that 50 has given saying that it's all business with them. I know they both have alcohol lines, and I know, they're both from New York. I think 50 is maybe from Queens and Diddy is from Harlem. I don't know what their ground zero is, but I know that since this all came out, 50 has not stopped. He's been taunting Diddy online. You, of course, know about the documentary. I believe it got picked up by Netflix, and he is supposedly donating the proceeds to victims of domestic violence. Diddy has had his knee on his neck and his foot to the gas on Diddy for a while, but again, I don't know where it started.
Yeah, I mean, 50 Cent, for many people, if it was ever, there was an anecdote that came out that someone had said, oh, I like guns when talking about it back and forth, it might scare you. 50 Cent was at the
Mhm.
Knicks Pacers game in Indiana with a free Diddy t-shirt on, sitting courtside the next day. That's
Was
just,
he?
it's different. It was, yeah, it was different.
Mhm.
I look back and we aired a bit kind of leading into this interview, a clip from the Breakfast Club. It was 2018 and Diddy was on the show and they asked about the issues that he had with 50 Cent. And he said, there's no issues. I love him. He loves
Mhm.
me. He was kind of joking about it. And then you hear these stories that come out, whether it's this one specifically
Mhm.
about 50 Cent or just in general, the picture that's being painted by the government in this trial. For you, has kind of the image of Sean Combs and who you thought he was, has it changed during the course of what we've seen over the last couple of weeks?
Certainly over the course of what we've seen, but I think I've seen an interview where 50 said, if you want to go nowhere, go to Diddy. If you're ready for your career to die, go to Diddy. It's long been rumored that Diddy didn't necessarily.
uncomfortable around Diddy, recounting an incident where Diddy bizarrely offered to take him shopping, painting Diddy not as a friendly peer, but as someone with a weird, predatory energy. This long-held suspicion, now vindicated by the federal indictment, is being fed directly into the media grinder. The secret here is that the good times Diddy sold to the world were, according to 50 Cent, always laced with a dark, unsettling undercurrent that the industry ignored. 50 Cent is essentially saying, I saw the monster hiding in plain sight, and you all were too scared, or too compromised, to look. The truly brutal psychological blow 50 Cent is delivering is through his stated mission, donating all proceeds from his documentary to sexual assault victims. This is the ultimate reversal of fortune. Diddy's alleged enterprise was about exploitation for profit and power. 50 Cent is turning the documentation of that alleged exploitation into a charitable cause dedicated to healing the victims. It's a move of perfect moral and economic judo. Diddy is forced to watch his decades of alleged dark secrets
Treat his artists properly. And if you look through his roster of artists, you'll see a lot of individuals whose careers probably started off really, really well, but they ended up with no money. That's long been the rumor. There've been rumors of abuse by Diddy toward Cassie and toward Kim and some other women as well. Even when he was at, I think Uptown is where he originally started. So there have always been rumors, but nothing really solidified and verified like we've had in this trial. It's been awful. I think it would be awful for anyone. I don't think his reputation is in the business world certainly will never recover. And even if he's found not guilty, his name is mud. I don't think that it's recoverable. I think everybody is extremely shocked, especially just some of the sexually explicit things. We have a huge morality issue in America. So anything that's like a little deviant is just not going to be really good for you. So I think everybody's a little shocked. I'm a little shocked and appalled and horrified, and I think a lot of people are. But this is not what we knew. We knew some things weren't right, but we didn't know just how wrong they were.
And I feel like we just knew because I mean, we all grew up, whether it was, some of the roles he had in movies and I mean, he was everywhere and then his brands were everywhere. And it's like Making the Band was such like a hit show on MTV back in the
Hmm.
day. And there's that famous scene where he has all the contestants walk to Brooklyn to go get, I think it was Junior's cheesecake. And he's yelling at
Hmm.
people. And then it seemed like everyone around him in any documentary that he did, it was like, oh, that's just Puff because he's always just so angry. And then it's just this whole other level in the trial where it just, as an attorney, I mean, how effective has the government been as you just read, and we can only read transcripts really and kind of hear from the people we
Hmm.
have in the courtroom, but just at this point, how effective has the government been in painting the picture of this isn't just someone who was a domestic abuser, this isn't someone who was just a mean boss, but this was a racketeer who was running a criminal enterprise.
Yeah, and I think the forced labor issue. I think they've done an excellent job with that. With the transcripts I've been reading, a lot of the people are saying that they worked for 20 hours, like that's the magic number, 20 hours straight. They, on a good day, we heard you'll get 4 hours of sleep. On a bad day, you'll get 4 hours of sleep. I think one of the what is it, a bodyguard said, if you sleep you're getting fired, like it was more rhythmical or rhythmic than that. I don't know, but you couldn't sleep around him, and I think that's what we saw with Making the Band. But again, we really didn't believe it. We thought it was for entertainment purposes. We didn't think someone could really act like this. And if an employee gave any pushback, uh, you know, they would either be terminated or they'd be threatened with reputational damage. They would be threatened with being blackballed, or they actually would be blackballed. And I think the government is doing an excellent job of proving forced labor.
And on that forced labor part, because on one hand, and I found it interesting, like George Kaplan, who is a former personal assistant for Diddy, like detailed all these, you know, witnessing the abuse, he said, of Cassie. And then he was someone who would start work at 9:30 in the morning. And I think he said sometimes he went home at 7 o'clock in the morning the next day. And that's just what it was like. And he still, at the end of his testimony, said something along the lines of, he respects Diddy as this business person.
Secrets be monetized, not by him, but by his greatest enemy, and for a cause that directly benefits the people he allegedly harmed. The secret is out, and now the story is one of justice, not just gossip. And Diddy has been cast as the villain in his own final scene, directed by 50 Cent. From the heights of Bad Boy to the depths of a federal indictment, the fall of Sean Diddy Combs is one of the most staggering collapses in celebrity history. But the architect of this public final humiliation isn't the FBI. It's not the relentless civil lawsuits. It's not even the unsealed evidence. No, The man holding the sledgehammer is the same man who's been trolling and warning us for years, 50 Cent. Diddy is losing it. The man who once demanded every single camera lens in the room focus solely on him is now frantically trying to vanish. He's issuing corporate-style apologies that ring hollow, deleting social media accounts, and watching his carefully constructed empire crumble, brick by dark brick. And through it all, 50 Cent stands as a
Jordan, aka Stevie J, who's Diddy's longtime friend. After Rodney Lil Jones Jr. filed his federal lawsuit against Diddy earlier this year, in which he referenced Diddy's infamous parties as seemingly the scene of a number of the allegations he now faces, including sex trafficking, forced drugging, and compromising footage of celebrities that have been held as blackmail. Stevie J seemingly responded with a post to Instagram with the caption, "This is what a real Diddy party looks like." The video showed a number of famous faces, including Jay-Z and Beyonce, Kim Kardashian, her then-husband Kanye West, Naomi Campbell, and several others who were all together to celebrate Diddy's 50th birthday in 2019. Fast forward to 2024, 50 was asked why there have been so many silent voices when it comes to celebs speaking out about Diddy, as if they're afraid to speak up. 50 replied in part, "Some of them were involved at the parties and enjoyed themselves, so they don't know what the F is on the tape or what's not on the tape. So they're not going to say anything because they might have had too much fun." And then you've got other people who look at it and go, "Well, that's not my business and I don't want to be in it." Then you got a part of our culture that says that's snitching or dry snitching. It's uncomfortable for me to say what I said because I've been saying this stuff for 4 or 5 years. Everybody else is not going to be as comfortable as I'm saying it. 50 Cent then alleged there's one famous friend that is aware of Diddy's alleged disturbing behavior. R&B legend Mary J. Blige, who got her start at Diddy's Bad Boy Records, has been a longtime friend of the embattled rapper and producer, but she reportedly has a great relationship with 50 Cent as well. When asked if Mary J. Blige reached out to 50, he responded, no, you know what? Mary never reached out to tell me not to F up Puffy because she knows he does that stuff." As Diddy and 50 Cent have long been in the rap game, they share another commonality, and that's 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his youngest son, Daphne Joy Navarez. The actress and OnlyFans model was named in Rodney Jones' suit against Diddy as she was referenced to as an alleged sex worker of Diddy's that also gets paid a monthly stipend. She has denied those allegations in a post made to social media, writing, "I am deeply hurt by the lies in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. The claim that I'm a sex worker is 100% false and character assassination. I am retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney." 50 Cent seemingly poked fun at the allegation of the mother of his son being an alleged sex worker. In a post made to his social media page, 50 wrote a caption, "I didn't know you was a sex worker, you little sex worker, LOL." But this would prompt Daphne Joy to respond to her ex again on social media, but this time would accuse 50 directly of rape and being abusive during their relationship. She would write in part, "Everything is a joke to you until our safety is compromised, which is happening now. You are wreaking real havoc, frenzy, and chaos onto people's lives. How would you feel if Sire was the one in handcuffs? For nothing. Let's put the real focus on your true evil actions of raping me and physically abusing me. You are no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point on. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve our family with these last and final false claims made against me. You have broken our hearts for the last and final time." Those allegations against 50 Cent would prompt him to fire back against his ex Daphne Joy and sue her for defamation. In his suit, 50 Cent said those allegations were unequivocally false and would claim she made the shocking allegations in retaliation after he moved to take sole custody of their son. Since that suit, Daphne has deleted her Instagram post accusing 50 of rape and physical abuse. 50 Cent was asked by The Hollywood Reporter the latest in the defamation suit. The rapper and television producer said he tiptoes around the Daphne stuff and explained why. He said, "I got a family court case. The allegations that came out, she posted things to her page saying some crazy stuff. But this comes 8 hours after I filed for custody for my son. And she put that up in response to that, and I'm like, ugh. In this climate, you know how quickly they pass judgment. Things have worked out since she said those things." He went on to add, "I'd like to respond and say some wild stuff, but I've got to sustain that for myself."
triumphant, mocking, unyielding commentator, turning Diddy's real-life horror show into the most watched, most savage docu-series in the world. He's not just trolling, he's weaponizing the truth he claims he always knew. For years, 50 Cent was the lone voice in the wilderness, the rapper who publicly questioned Diddy's entire persona. He hinted at the darkness, he mocked the weird energy, he called out the perceived fakery. Everyone else in the industry stayed quiet, terrified of Diddy's power, his connections, his influence. They saw the celebrity, the mogul, the untouchable icon. 50 Cent saw a mark, a weak spot, a rotten foundation. And now, the federal government and over 100 accusers have confirmed 50's decades-long suspicions. The secrets that Diddy paid billions to keep buried are finally being dragged into the harsh, undeniable light, all perfectly timed for 50 Cent's Netflix series. Did he do it? The most disturbing secret 50 Cent has amplified, the one that has visibly sent Diddy into a spiral of panic deletion and hollow public statements, is the sheer, alleged criminal architecture of his life. Diddy wasn't just throwing wild parties. The federal indictment, which 50 Cent has been referencing nonstop, alleges a decades-long pattern of racketeering, sex trafficking, and forced labor. This isn't a lapse of judgment. This is an alleged enterprise, a system where the trappings of celebrity, the private jets, the high-end hotels, the endless supply of champagne, were allegedly tools of coercion and exploitation. 50 Cent didn't invent the term freak-off, but he made it a global punchline for Diddy's alleged crimes. When the federal raids revealed an absurd quantity of baby oil and lubricants, 50 Cent didn't just tweet about it, he turned it into a viral, humiliating digital fashion show, with AI-generated Diddy models marching down runways, covered in baby oil. This is the essence of 50's genius in this feud. He takes the most grotesque piece of evidence and turns it into inescapable, irreversible ridicule. He makes the world laugh at a man who has only ever demanded respect and fear. Diddy's reaction? Public silence, followed by the kind of calculated, lawyer-approved non-denial statements that only further expose his terror. He is losing his composure because the narrative is no longer his. It belongs to 50 Cent and the accusers. Diddy is losing the war because his weapon was money and influence. 50 Cent's weapon is unvarnished truth, relentless mockery, and strategic timing. The fear Diddy commanded has vanished, replaced by a universal wave of disgust and schadenfreude that 50 Cent is riding like a tsunami. The old secrets, the alleged abuse of former partners like Cassie, the accusations of being involved in the deaths of industry legends like Biggie and Tupac that 50 Cent has publicly questioned for years, all feel new again now that a federal indictment and a parade of new accusers have given them undeniable weight. The man who once demanded we take that is now the one taking the fall, head first, into a public pit of ruin. He is exposed, isolated, and digitally erased. The ultimate mogul is powerless, and his most bitter rival is documenting his total and irreversible breakdown for the entire world to stream. This isn't just the end of an era, it's a complete, hostile takeover of a legacy, orchestrated by the one person Diddy could never silence. The secret is out, the past is dark, and 50 Cent is putting it all on blast. Diddy is done, finished, and 50 Cent is here to make sure every last detail of the implosion is recorded for history.